dog's going. So I want to play around with that for a sec. So I'm keeping you now. So does everyone have cheese? Does anyone need cheese? Does anyone need ham? I did buy ham. Okay, I'm going to make a noise. When I make the noise, I want you to click and throw it behind you, okay? Perfect. So just in training in the wild, we discovered that we had a trigger, right? They just have to hear it to know someone's going by to get rocking and rolling. So let's take a moment and condition that, right? So we're going to do it again. Everybody ready? Major, do you have treaties? I don't. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to open and shut this. Everybody ready for their click?
I'm dropping the cheese.
Here it is. I'm going to do that again.
Thanks, Nance.
Oh, shoot, I threw it to your dog.
Okay. Okay. Now, everybody, why are dogs barking when they hear this open and close?
Because they know something's coming out. Somebody else is going
This is
out.
Pavlov,
They're conditioned to that.
right? This is Pavlov. They hear that, it predicts a dog walking by.
Yep.
Right? So Pavlov's happened. Okay? Not in the way we'd like it to happen. Okay, so we're tweaking Pavlov right now. All right, so I'm going to do this again. You're just going to open it. Now we're starting to rock and roll. We got Chad and Kathy for treats. Okay, one more time. Good. Okay, gonna do this. I'm gonna do this 5 more times. Then we're gonna have a dog walk. Everyone got treats for that? Anyone need more treats? You good? You need treats?
I need a few.
Yeah. Come get high value treats. High value treats. And we have ham. If anyone wants, now I will tell you, ham's hard to pitch. It sticks. It's a sticky thing, but it's high value. So you know, it's high value. All right, everybody ready? We're gonna do 5 in a row. Now what's important is that the time between the trials is random. If I'm opening and closing in fairly regular duration, the dog's going to think they're getting treated every 2 seconds. I want them to know it's that's causing something to happen. So essentially the door opening and closing is becoming the clicker, right? That's what we want. Okay, perfect. Now, everybody, we had a plan when we came up here, but within, a minute, we realized the plan needed to be modified. Okay, so it's always good to have a plan, but don't be dogmatic about it, okay? Be willing to change with the plan. So this dog's now can you go out that door and around?
And I can come in that door and back, or you want me to?
Okay, I want you to go around and then come and move over there, okay? Now, everybody, here's what I want you to do. I want you to move forward because I want the dog going behind you, okay? So this dog is now going to go behind you. When your dog sees the dog, click, throw a treat. Even if your dog barks or lunges, okay? You're up, baby.
Come on, Major, let's go. Time to go out. Come on, I know you're upset because it's going to be noisy. Come on.
You guys look like little army of clickers. It's awesome. Okay, I want to make sure you've got treats. You have treats for that dog? Good, baby. Okay, you're going to walk behind with treats. Everybody get ready to just click and treat behind you. Ready? Yep.
What about the dog you said was barking to hear himself bark? I mean, not,
I think that's,
what do you do about that? I mean,
well, my bet is it's boredom barking.
yeah.
And so that's where things, how long has that dog been here? The one that's barking nonstop? I don't know which dog is that. Which dog is barking nonstop?
It's Fritz.
No, she hasn't been here that long. She was adopted in return, for, she nipped a kid, but the kid was tugging on her blanket. She was sitting on.
Okay,
So we forgave her.
Who is it? Which dog?
Coco.
It is Coco.
Okay, so,
Coco's been that way since she's been here.
okay, I am unable to open the easy opener. I'm gonna open that. Okay, here's the thing. She's demand barking. She wants treats. So she's sitting there, tail's wagging, she's excited, she wants treats. So what I want to do with her is, if you bark, I'm going to turn my back on you. If you're quiet, I'll click on treat. If you bark, I'm going to turn my back on you. And for some dogs, I'll even treat dogs next to them. Every time you bark, I treat the other dog. Every time you bark, I treat the other dog. At some point, they stop for a nanosecond. That's what I'm looking for. Good. So I'm starting to delay how often I'm clicking, because I actually want this dog to bark, so I can remove myself, right? So I want to be able to teach this dog, when you bark, you're going to lose me. This is different than I'm going to for walking past me. This is, I want a treat, I want a treat, I want a treat. It's like, well, you can have one, but not if you're barking at me. If you bark at me, I'm going to turn my back on you or even go out of sight. If you're quiet, I will click and treat you.
Thank you.
You can go by. That little sweet pea can walk by.
Right now, she's ignoring her.
Walk out.
We're trying to do Bo to get him in and out of the car. And he'll stand next to the door, but he doesn't want to make that first step, leap, attempt to get in the door. So I fight every day the instinct to goose him, to make him make that first step. If he's never done it, because he's semi-feral, I don't think he's ever been in a car. Do I once?
You can sit in the car.
But we've tried that, and he just looks at us like, whatever.
Have you tried putting something like a step on the ground? So there's a lot of
Well,
dogs.
that's why we were doing the ramp around back, to
Yeah.
try to get him to maybe.
Because there's a lot of dogs that
Yeah.
don't want to commit to going into it's a relatively small opening.
Correct.
If you look at it from a dog's perspective. And so, you're kind of asking them to go from freedom into this little thing, and they don't know what it means. So I
Yeah,
think
and I don't think
sometimes
he
kind of,
necessarily likes that, because it is a narrower doorway.
if you have a tunnel, you can play with it too.
And that's why he's in a bigger space in the
Correct.
first place.
Again, he prefers to be in an outside, if you put him in his kennel, that narrow kennel that
Yeah,
people live
it's
in.
not wild.
He leans up against the wall and he's like, I don't
Okay,
necessarily
so
like
he's
that.
already got an issue with space constriction,
Yeah.
and a car is space constriction.
So I don't know if the next step is maybe once to try to goose him, to get him. to
Well,
the
you
bed
can lift him
first.
up and put it in it as long as you let him come right out. But that
We've done
doesn't,
that once in the van, and that was an alligator thing, that's why we're trying to do it gentler, kinder.
Because he turned into
I
an
think the
alligator
ramp is
inside.
the best way to do it.
Yeah, a step.
I think the
something.
ramp, because it's just
Step
like the
stool.
stairs outside, it's that he gets a vote.
Okay.
It's that he gets a
Those
vote.
collapsing step stools. I bought two that are being used right now out on the bridge.
So a couple things. This kind of training takes time. Any kind of training takes time. So if you started to go to a gym, you would not expect to see results the afternoon you started at the gym. But people tend to do that with dog training. They want to see the results now. You are not training under the most ideal conditions, right? You're training in a highly distracting and stress-inducing environment. So that means that you have to calibrate your expectations. So I was happy that everyone was walking by and throwing a treat in the back, and we had relative calm and quiet. We got Versus in a more, but we also didn't march Versus down the long, you know what I mean? Like, we set him up to succeed, because what I want to do is create short periods of success, because that's all we're going to get. So again, I think if we could all, as volunteers and staff, commit to, when I start my shift, I'm going to take a stroll down and click and treat dogs in the back. And if we start there, I think you would be amazed at what happens in like a week. I mean, you're gonna see something faster than that. But I think you would be amazed. And I think also being mindful of, if you have a dog you know is reactive, taking him the short way out if possible, and getting help. If there are other volunteers around, you could totally say, hey, I'm about to move this dog. Will you treat the dogs around while I'm leaving with this one dog that's going to be looking for it? A question was, why don't you ask your question? Because you had a question.
I feel really guilty about the dogs that I can't get to.
How is that an emotion other people share?
Absolutely.
And how do you all deal with that?
I volunteer every day.
Exactly.
That's what I love is your 4 hours.
So, what I would have you think about, I mean, I can't, once again, I can't reward or punish an emotion, so stop feeling guilty. What I can say to you is, it's not just interaction, it's quality of interaction. And so if you integrate even a small amount of this training into your interactions with the dogs, it might mean that you don't make it to the same number of dogs, but the dogs that you are making it to, you are greatly increasing their chances of being adopted. Because you are changing their relationship with people, right? So what's really essential for dogs to successfully be adopted is that human beings are a resource of something important, right? If you're a feral dog and you've lived on your own and you've caught your own food, how important are people? You know what I mean? Versus, hey, I have caught my own food, but you showed up with something kind of yummy. Where'd you catch that meatball? And so I think that, when I did the prison program, I was it was really hard for me to go into shelters because I was only picking 1 or 2 dogs. And it was like, how do I leave all the other dogs behind? And at first I handled it by being really laser focused on the dogs that were chosen for me to try. And I just sort of put blinders on because it was too upsetting. Because I'd go home and cry, I'd sit with my dogs and sob. And then gradually over time, I actually would start going in 15 minutes early and treating all the dogs. Little treats for all the dogs. Like, yeah, I was here and someone was good, and I'm sorry I can't take you this go around, but I want you to have an experience with a human being that's really lovely. And if that's me giving you a little ham and calling it a day, I'm sorry I can't do more for you, but I can do that for you, right? And that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful. But I think this is why rescue is such a challenging thing. I think this is how you end up with 20 dogs and 50 cats in your house. I do! I was just saying to Robin as I was walking past the kittens, I'm like, man, I will totally be the crazy cat woman in Free Unity because I can take every one of those cats out with me right totally could. Easily. I know Rob was like, I think they let you. I'm like, shut up. I got enough problems. I got enough problems. But I mean, honestly, once you've opened your heart to these guys, it's not like you can pick and choose. So, but your resources are limited. And so, you know, when I was here a couple weeks ago, when I thought there was training and there wasn't training, I said to Heather, you know, we got 2 pounds of ham and 20 cheese sticks. We might not make it to all the dogs, but the dogs we make it to are going to remember we were here for a moment in time and have a little fun with them. And that's what you do. So I think one of the things that happens is if you stretch yourself too thin, then the dogs are losing an opportunity, and cats too. I'm not my flick technique for the cats. You're losing an opportunity to actually teach them something about human beings. You know, they have enough fleeting moments with people. You know, so any questions? Can we try for a couple weeks, since we're not going to be here next week? Can I get you guys to do the click and treat challenge? So then when I come back, and it's going to be a question and answer, but we can do it upstairs. I just want to see where we're at, and I just want you. Here's the thing: 100% is easier than 98%, and what that means is, if you do something 100% of the time, you don't have to think about it. It's not a choice. You just do it. The second you don't do it once, then it becomes a choice, and you get that little thing in your head that says, I'm kind of in a rush today. I don't think this is what's happened with exercise with me. Okay? It's not 100%. It needs to be. Okay? It's not even 98%. All right. So if we can commit to a couple of weeks of 100% before you start. At the start of your shift is saying hi to all the dogs with a click and a treat. You're going to hit all the dogs or kitties. Swing by and do this with the kitties too. The kitties were rocking out the Temptations. When I brought that little pouch of Temptations, they were digging that as much as they liked dancing. I want to see how it changes the culture for you as well as the recipient of the goodies. Because once you start clicking and treating and it becomes kind of automatic pilot for you, it's sort of really interesting what happens. It really changes who you are. Like, I am a trainer that looks for good decisions all the time. I'm not a trainer that looks for mistakes. Mistakes don't actually faze me. You know, mistakes are a good opportunity to say, oh, that won't pay, right? As we were working with, who's barking?
Coco.
Yeah, Coco. So I was like, okay, well, if you bark in my face for ham, I'm going to turn my back. And I might step out of sight. I might start treating other dogs. And then she started thinking, you know, and she was like, I have some say over whether, right? And she's not there yet, but we planted the seed, right? We planted the seed. So, so here's my thought. My thought is the next time we get together, if you guys could commit to that, that would be awesome. Let's see where that gets us. We'll do some questions and answers. And one of the things that I put out there to Laura, and I'll put out to you guys, I thought that since, you know, our official class sessions are over, I wondered if it would be helpful, and if it's not, that's fine. If, you know, a couple of times a month, or if demand warrants it, I'm happy to do it more often. Coming in, and if someone has some one-on-one training they want to do, Laura thought maybe signing up for like, hey Devin, can I have this 15-minute block? That's fine. You know, if you never want to see me again after this, that's okay. You can skip it out. But if there's high enough demand, I'm happy to make more time, because I think that, you know, you all have gotten sort of the general lay of the land, which is great. But now it's kind of like, how do I apply that to this individual situation in this challenging environment? And that takes some problem solving. You know, like I said, I made a plan. We went upstairs. That plan had to be changed pretty quick, right? It's like, oh, if we even hear a door jiggle, we've got reactivity. Let's work on that. So, okay, so that's our commitment.
Yep.
That's our commitment.
Cool.
Awesome.
Can I ask a question? Where do they keep hot dogs now with this
We're
room?
in the back refrigerator in the back.
Right side, I mean left side.
All the
At
way.
the
All the way to the back end, there's a room back
Go
there.
all the way to the end of left side, there's a room.
Oh, okay, all the way in the back, okay.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think cheese sticks are so handy.
Yep.
You know, like just Cheese sticks can be
Even
really.
shredded cheese works fine.
Shredded cheese is great. I find
Gives
I
you more
don't,
time
I don't
off.
throw it well. I find that I, you know,
But to get in, because they're doing more of
Yeah.
this, they're more distracted.
Yeah. So, but again, I mean, here's the thing, with enough repetition, we're not gonna need to distract them. They're gonna see us coming and head for the back, and that's what we want.
And also, a lot of times on my way out, my pockets are full of treats, because I've been
Yeah,
walking on my
that's
way
true,
out, I
yeah.
say goodbye to everybody.
That's when I do
just
it.
need to add the click, you know, with
Yeah.
the treat on my
Yeah.
way out, because I'm getting rid of all the treats.
Yeah, that's great,
Yeah.
that's great, however it works best in your routine. Let's just say somewhere in your shift, beginning or end, that's the plan. Awesome, let's try it. That's all, that's doable, right? Let's do it. And let's see what happens.
Absolutely.
Great,
And
great,
there's
great,
quite
great.
a few people, obviously, that aren't here, regular walkers, if we could just pass the word to maybe one other
Casey?
walker.
Or
or
Casey
something.
could,
Put it
put
in.
it, you know, maybe
Casey
her
would put in an email.
and ask her to put it in and send it
Yeah,
out.
because there's so
Yeah.
many people that I
No.
know, regular walkers. that
Devin, you
aren't-
still would recommend doing that where there's multiple dogs in the kennel.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if resource guarding is an issue, but then they wouldn't be in the same kennel, right?
Well, no, because we feed them separately.
Oh,
So
one
my
on one
concern is-
side, one on the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I would do is I'd separate.
Okay.
And if you've separated a dog, if there's multiple dogs in a kennel and one's inside, outside, make sure you go outside, inside, then open. If you can remember.
Are Beefcake and BD resource?
No, they share, I think they share, they actually feed back and forth, so.
What you might find with multiple dogs in a kennel that aren't resource guarding, you feed one in the back, one goes back for it, the other one you can drop up front. You know what I mean? And then sort of keep them separate and distinct, or you can always use the gate. But if we could do that, I think that would be really, really powerful. On top of that, it charges the clicker like nobody's business, so then when we decide to do individual training, we have got dogs that really, really understand the clicker,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Yeah, it's like nursery school for
Yeah.
clicker,
Yeah,
And I've
exactly.
been surprised at how many of them seem to understand that my little toot on my whistle is the same thing as the click. You know, I can tell when somebody's been clicking a dog, because they're like, oh, it's a sound, I get to pay attention, what?
It's a salient and unique sound.
Well, that was major too. I mean, I didn't have a clicker on me, but I was just giving it psst and throwing it, and he quickly picked it up. So
Yeah.
any sound that's a little.
Yeah, so there's nothing special about a clicker.
Yeah.
There's nothing special about a clicker. It happens to be a unique sound,
Yeah.
you know. Great. All right, you have my challenge. I'm expecting
Right.
a progress